Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. We're getting into the Fimi X8 mini drone, direct competitor to the new DJI Mini 2. You may have seen a bunch of my videos on this Mini 2. It's an amazing drone, but at a more cost-effective price. We're going to see if this kind of compares, holds up. This is going to be a full review series on the X8 Mini. We're going to basically do an unboxing, setup, and see how it is. And then in the next few videos, we're going to do flight testing, range testing, all the normal stuff I do in my series to really put these things through a thorough and in-depth review series. So anyway, let's get started with the Fimi X8 Mini. Okay, so as usual, my first time unboxing this is going to be with you, just so you can see kind of my reaction and how this whole thing is for a first-time user. I've never used one of these. I've never even seen it outside of the box, sealed plastic off of it here. As you can see, this is the white version that's unfolded there. That's kind of how it looks. Over here on the back is the orange version, so kind of in that Autel Evo slash Fimi territory, right? They're having a few different options in colors. So if you're looking at kind of like the under 250 gram class, this is it. So this is 250 or under. It does 4K HDR video is what it's claiming here. It's got a real 3-axis gimbal that's going to give you that stable video. Hopefully, we're going to test all that. 31-minute flight time. So this is getting up there with the Mini 1, Mini 2 flight time. I believe those ones were right in the 25 to 27 minute range in real life. And they're claiming it does 8 kilometers of transmission video range. So we're going to be testing that as well. And the range test coming up, a level 5 wind resistance. So that's a pretty high wind resistance. I believe a level 5, I'm going to have to look it up, but I'll have it pop up on the screen here on the mile per hour. I guess we're going to have to do a high wind test on this one too, like I did with the Mini. And it has Type-C connection for fast charging. Kind of like what DJI does. They do have a little sticker here to show you it hasn't been opened yet. So I'm just cutting that open for the first time. And here we go, guys, with you. There it is. So a little QR code on the top is telling you to download the Fimi Navi Mini app. So there's a whole new app. So apparently I got the white version. Let's pull it out. As usual, just all a little bit not quite as good of packing as like the DJI products and stuff. So as you can see, the gimbal cover already just kind of fell off out of the box. Put this back on and then we'll do like a full-on inspection of it once I get everything else out of the box. But there we go. That went on fairly easy. It feels like it's pretty tight. Anyway, let's get the other stuff out of the box and come back to the X8 Mini. Okay, so we got to go down a layer. On the bottom layer, we got our controller, and the instruction manual is right in. And the controller is a total different color than the drone. Look at that. Some of you may like that, some may not, but they're going with a darker, definitely controller. Then there's the Mini controller over there. You can see that kind of light gray. This is like definitely a dark gray. But anyway, that was the antennas just kind of popping up. The fit and finish, of course, is not going to be as good as DJI. Of course, I'm always comparing it, but you know, you kind of have to because it's in the same class. One disclaimer actually, and then that's the quick start manual. It's just this little manual, and it looks like it's pretty thorough. Half of it's English, and then half of it looks like it's Chinese. Check it out. This thing slides way the heck open. This is the iPad Mini 5 here, and I just want to see if this will fit real quick. Nope, it doesn't quite fit. See that there? That's as far as it goes. So you are going to need some kind of extender. You know, they have those little ones for like the Mavics and stuff. I'll go ahead and link in the description as well, that you can put in here, and then it kind of pops up and it has a clamp. So it looks like it's going to fit any kind of iPhones or larger phones, Samsungs and whatnot, because there it is. See how it's spring loaded and it locks it in there? No problem. A little off center to the antennas, but that's just how these controllers are. And you can see how if I pull it open all the way, I want to say about a ½ inch of room for some larger phones. Anywho, we got a little compartment here that looks like where the cable is going to come out, like in the regular Fimi controller. There's our sticks compartments. So these will pop out and we just twist them on. And there's our power button. I'm hitting it once. I'm seeing a full charge there. Return to home button. I assume that's pictures and video. And then we have our little gimbal roller here. It definitely snaps back as you pull it. Again, not the fit and finish you would expect from something like the Mini. And I keep saying that, but it is just worth noting that it just feels all around just a little bit cheaper because it is a cheaper drone. And the whole objective is to see if you can spend less money, right? And can still get a quite a good product. And that's what this review is all about. So it looks like cooling or speaker here, little vents that goes all the way into the controller. And that really is it, except for a USB-C type port. And that's where we're going to be plugging in the cable that will slip in here and then in turn connect to our phone. So let's try to see if we can find that in the box as well. All right, so last thing here, you can see that box is empty now. And it looks like this is going to be just kind of falling out the bottom is this little final box. And we're just going to slide out the bag and see what comes in here. So a bag within a bag, both opposite ways, screws on that side. And then these are the two extra sets of propellers. So not going to give you the full set of 4, just 2 extra. Phillips screwdriver, very small screwdriver in the package. And here are all of our connectors on the controller, for the controller to your phone. On one side we have all USB Type-C, and on the other side, guys, are all your different type of phone connectors. So USB-C, I know the newer iPhones now are going to be using USB-C, so that would be kind of a universal. This is the Lightning, and then USB Micro. And these aren't really used that much anymore, but they're still including them for some reason. As you can see, guys, in the box, there was no charger. So they're going real minimalist on this, where I'm not getting a charger or anything. All you're getting is this USB Type-C cable, and they're assuming that you're going to have some kind of charger for your phone that you can plug this into and charge the drone. And that really is what they're banking on, is for you to have your own source to plug in. So a little con there, but not such a big deal. And then that's where you're going to plug this thing in to charge it. See how it just plugs right into the back? Open bay here, and there is a USB micro there and a little switch. That's actually a Wi-Fi to regular RC switch, so apparently you can connect this to like your smart device strictly from Wi-Fi and fly it that way. I almost forgot to mention the memory card port here. So SD memory card, I usually use this one, the SanDisk Extreme Pro. For all my 4K needs, I always have these linked in the description so you guys can get the right one down there. But it looks like it just goes kind of writing up and then push in and click snap, just like other drones. So very simple. Sometimes you have to actually get a tool, but it looks like your finger is going to be just fine for this one. And you can grab it, even with my banana fingers. It works pretty well. Two little interesting things. No door on this. It's just open and kind of raw. It looks like that's how you take out the battery. So that's intentional. And wow, look at this. They're going with 2 lithium ion round cells. So these are like 18650s. So kind of difficult to see because the writing is getting smaller and smaller, but these are 8.4 volt max charge. So like a 2S high voltage, and these are 2400 milliamp hour. So almost like the Mini 1. Remember this? So this is kind of like the battery technology is competing directly with the Mini 1. So we'll see how this kind of does. Because remember the DJI Mini 1, this is the Mini 2 over here, but the Mini 1 only had a 2K camera. This one has a 4K. So as far as the resolution and features go, it's kind of competing more with the Mini 2, I think. Hopefully this does all that tracking and stuff that the Mini 2 and the Mini 1 couldn't do out of the box. They only could do quick shots. So really going to see if this can do like infinite tracking. That would be pretty awesome. I'll find all that out with you guys during this review. I'm just going to focus in. You can see some of the circuit board up top. There's the connectors where the battery plugs into, and just the whole battery bay there. Anyway, just taking a closer look at this thing, flipping it around, there's the bottom. So there's the power button, the power lights. There is a indicator light here. We have this kind of white film here, smoke film. Actually 3 sensors. Boy, that's a tiny little camera. A very tiny camera there. And then it looks like maybe a laser on these two, maybe LiDAR or something to detect the ground. And then we just have venting here on the bottom, itty bitty little white foam inserts on the bottom of the motors, similar to, yes, the Mini and the Mini 2. Flipping it over to the top before we open this thing up, just have like a black stripe here on top. And just, oh, there's a vent. Okay, so real vents right in here on the top. There, that is a real vent. I don't know if you can see that, but I can see like light coming in on the bottom. This here is just a sticker in the front. So fake looking vent here. That's a real vent there. This is just a sticker on top. So it looks like you need to do the back first. Opening the back legs. Boom, boom. And then actually front first, sorry. Got that mixed up. And then the back. Otherwise, they'll close each other out. More venting there on the sides. You see a little two vents. And that's the same on both sides. We got little vents here. And then the whole back of the battery compartment is open through the legs. You can see how you can see some light through there. And so that is open as well. Of course, once you put the battery in, that's going to kind of block that off. But added cooling is always nice. Looks like it's well ventilated. Since there is like a circuit board on the bottom and a circuit board on the top inside there, you can see that there are vents in here. I doubt this thing has any kind of fan, but we'll find that out when we turn it on. No rubber feet on the little landing gear. It looks like the antennas are going to be in the front legs. And really all we have to do now is check out this camera. So real easy clip thing, just kind of pushing it up from the bottom. Really pronounced set of 3 screws on that side, and that's the 3-axis gimbal camera. So very small camera. Honestly, don't expect this to be as good as the Mini 2 camera, just because of its size, weight, and the look of it. But you know, we might be surprised. It might do pretty well for what it is, and it's also a cheaper drone as well. That's kind of as far over as it goes, side to side. Pitch that goes up and down, so maximum upward angle. And then if we push this camera down, can go all the way down, kind of facing the back. And then we got our roll, of course. So the roll will go all the way until it kind of bottoms out. And if you look in there, since I have the battery out of the back, you can kind of see all the way through it. See that? So that's a good also venting system that's going in the front. Anyway, guys, that's it in a nutshell. Really, the last thing we got to do, guys, right now, before we get it set up on our phone, is download the Fimi Navi Mini app. So I'm going to do that on the Android phone, since that fits inside of the controller. Get all that up and running and show you guys what it takes to get it set up, see if there's any updating, and see what the interface looks and all that stuff. We just have this QR scanner app on my phone, and I'm just going to scan the back of the instructions. Comes up super quick. So let's go ahead and try it out. Open. Yep, it's going to the Fimi service, and this is the latest app. So we're going to download it here. Since we got the app installed, now it's time to charge the battery and also charge the controller. As usual, they don't give us 2 separate USB Type-C cables. You can always use this as well, but then you're going to have an adapter or power brick that supports the USB-C type when you're plugging into the wall. And then you can just plug the other side into the drone battery or the controller. Anyway, let me charge these up and we'll be back and get everything connected up. Here's something of interest, guys. So basically there's 2 battery versions to this drone. You have the standard version, which is the lithium ion, which I got. And then you have the Pro version, which actually uses a LiPo. So very similar to the Mini 1 and Mini 2 type drones from DJI. The lithium polymer battery is a little bit higher voltage than the lithium ion, and it's going to give you like 1 more minute of flight time, they claim. So very interesting between the 2 different battery technologies. For the takeoff weight, they're saying with the lithium ion standard battery, it's actually going to be over 250 grams. So they're bringing it in to 258 grams with that battery I got, and then 245 grams with the lithium polymer battery. So very important to know. I'm going to go ahead and just weigh this on the scale with the battery in it once it charges, just to make sure we know the exact takeoff weight with your memory card in there and everything. And let's compare it also to the DJI Mini 2 drone. So let's take off these 2 gimbal protectors. And this is actually going to be the all-up flight weight, right? So 242 on the Mini 2, definitely under 250 grams. And the X8 Mini with the, remember, lithium-ion battery is going to be heavier than the lithium polymer. 264, so it's actually over 250 grams with this battery. So I'd recommend, if you guys want to be under 250 grams, definitely switch this out with that Pro battery. And I'd assume you can buy that from the site I got this from. Go ahead and I'll have that link down in the description down below. So if you wanted to get that lighter battery, which will bring your craft under 250 grams, go ahead and do that. Without the battery, it is 161 with memory card. And for the Mini 2 without battery, it's also 161, 162. So same weight without the batteries, but you know, you put that battery in and you have different. So let's try to put the X8 Mini on there, and then let's put the Mini 2 battery on top. And that'll definitely bring it below 250 grams. That's 241. So a lighter technology with the LiPo and more power with the LiPo. Okay guys, so let's get the X8 Mini booted up. Did charge these two things up. The controller, which as you can see is fully charged. This one took only like 20 minutes because it was already almost fully charged. But this battery here, boy, this must have taken about, I want to say, an hour or so, just because it didn't seem like it was as charged as the controller. So we want to get this thing up and running, so we're going to slide this battery in. So let's just go ahead and start up the Fimi Navi Mini app we downloaded and see what it tells us to do. I'm in the United States here. Use your agreement, agree to the policy, and I should already have a Fimi account from the last drone, so I'm going to see if I can punch in that information. If not, go ahead and register. Just got to put in an email and make sure you confirm it. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay guys, so unfortunately, I guess it didn't save my Fimi app from a while ago. So since this is a new app for the Mini, I had to go ahead and do a new registration, real easy. Just sent me an email. And then you have all this other stuff like allow access to your device. And so you just have to allow a few things. So that's basically it. Okay, so for the first startup, we are going to power this thing on just like a other type of drone. You just kind of press it once to see the power here, and then you press and hold, and that will boot you up. You can see that gimbal kind of going up, kind of an interesting noise there, kind of a generic noise. Probably what I should have done was turn on the controller first. You usually want to turn on your controller first. Press and hold. There goes the controller, and what we're doing is we're just waiting for the beeping to stop. So taking a little bit of time here. There we go. So we have, see, once those power lights stop blinking, we know it's connected to the drone, and we should be just about ready to go. So I'm grabbing the USB Type-C cable. Of course, remember there's two other ones in the package. So just get the one that pertains to your device. And it looks like the way this is going is it's just kind of sliding in this little indentation here. And then I want to kind of loop it around and plug it right in the bottom. Maybe plug it into the phone first. Let's try that. I felt a little bit of a vibration, and I want to always open the Fimi Navi Mini app. Okay, let's just slide it into this little port here. Just want to slide it in. I guess that's one of the ways you can do it, just like that. I want to just kind of go into the settings real quick and take a look at this. And that's just like disappearing real quick. So kind of funky there. You see how that's happening? Just so you guys know how this is. Sometimes it's frustrating. Enter device. Let's see what happens. New user guide. Before you fly, let's read the content. Here's some information on it. If you guys were new to this drone like I am, definitely want to read all this stuff. It tells you where not to fly. Beginner mode, you have a 50-foot-meter height limit and a 100-meter lateral limit there. Get to know your aircraft, how to unfold it, what the controls do. Let's see if we tap to view mode 1. There you go. So you can choose 2, 1, or 3. Enter the camera view is our only other option. You can see how that's the last page. We can swipe, enter camera view, and there we go. So it shows we're not connected. So it never did connect through the phone, unfortunately, for some reason. Let's go ahead and check out. It just says no data transfer. So I'm going to make sure it can do file transfer. There we go. Let's see if it connects. There we go. So immediately, if you have trouble doing that, go into your USB setting that pops up and enable data transfer between the devices. Firmware download and update. Here we go. So here's a firmware, guys. New firmware. After click OK, you will enter the firmware download interface. Okay. Looks like they're working on a few things. Only 662 kilobyte. So that's less than a megabyte. So you saw how fast that downloaded, super quick. Download complete button. Okay, let's see if we can click on these little... Nope, it still doesn't work. That's so weird, just like a little glitch. Maybe it would work on a different device. Pre-flight check. Actually, this is a sub window here. We got our return height, we can adjust that. And what does it do when we have a fail-safe, which loses control? You can choose hover, land, or RTH. Usually want it on RTH. Shows you the power you have currently. Mode 1, Mode 2, or 3 controller selection. We swipe, can't swipe any lower. I'm going to go ahead and format that SD card just to make it happy. And it's saying there's another firmware update. So let's try that again. There's another update here. Maybe it's the same one. Let's see what it does. Okay, so this one might be a little bit different. So we're just going to let it go through this update. Yeah, this is definitely updating the flight controller and everything. I'm looking over at the drone here and this rear light. I'm not sure if I should be moving it, but now it's blinking green, red, and yellow. Actually just green and red quite a bit there. So this one looks like it's going to take a little bit longer to update. So I'm going to kind of let that go. We're at 56% right now. So we'll just leave it here and I'll chime in when it's just about done. Okay guys, so I'm noticing that it was taking about 10 seconds per percentage until it looked like the light just kind of stopped blinking and it looked like it's rebooting itself. So now it's going quick. And if you notice, there's no sound whatsoever. There's no fan on this thing. So I definitely wouldn't advise doing this in a super hot environment. You know, definitely make sure. There we go. Rebooting, flight control update successful. Update complete. The controller is still locked in with the 4 lights there. That was the big update, it looked like, because that did update the flight controller. I'm going to go ahead and hit this triple there. That basically took it away. And this is where it's going to tell you like what the screen is. So mode status, kind of hard to see the screen, but you can see the writing on it. I'll go over all this stuff after all this kind of goes away, but you can go ahead and look at this if you'd like to, and it shows you what all these things are. So I'm just going to keep clicking on it. There we go. And we can see the entire screen here. Sensor temperature too high over there in the top left corner. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing off, guys, and do a reboot, let it cool down a little bit, and then we'll kind of continue on. I don't want to overheat this thing. Okay, guys, we are back. It's cooled down a bit, and I'd recommend just having a fan on this thing if you're, you know, updating it and stuff, or do it on a cooler day. Definitely do not do it on a high temp day. Kind of like the Mini 1 was overheating. Remember, I was having that issue in the Mini 1 video on the initial startup. So let's see if we can click on this now. Remember, we're having some trouble up here on the top. Now that's working. Check for updates. Let's try that one more time. And it says it's already the latest version, pops up here on the bottom. There you go. So you can sign in and out of your account. I just want to see what this insurance code means. Okay, so I guess you can purchase insurance through Fimi for your device. Premium care within 48 hours after the app is connected. So I didn't even do that. But if you want to, it seems like it might be kind of like DJI Care. So you have that option to do it. I'm going to back out of this. We're going to go into enter device again. And let's continue going on through all of the options and stuff. And while we're doing this, since it is a cooler day and everything, let's just see if that overheats again. If we go ahead and just click outside of this box, that basically takes it away. And there we go. So unable to enter GPS mode because we're in the house. So I assume that's what's happening there. We have a nice clear picture. Nothing's happening when I'm clicking on the screen. Can't really zoom in or anything. Now let's really see what we got on the screen here in depth. So there's our satellite. So it's only showing we have 11 in the house here. So it looks like it's just under the threshold to have enough satellites for good precision coming home. High video signal. And then this over here on the right is the controller signal. We've got 8.12 volts. Nice, it shows you a little voltage up there on your battery. And it's also showing you have a 93% battery and a little battery gauge there for the drone. Over on the left top, we have the meters from the home point. We have the height in meters, and it still has that unable to enter GPS mode because we're in the house. So if I click on that, that menu comes up again, that pre-flight menu. Let's see what happens if we do click on some of these things on the top. So I'm just clicking on the battery. That's great. So it's showing you, same like some other drones, it's showing us all of the information on the battery. This is a smart battery. It's defaulted at 30%, but you can turn that all the way up to 50% if you wanted. Return to home when battery is only enough to return to home is on. You can turn that off as well. And land when battery is only enough to land. It tells you if it's been over discharged. It tells you the temperature of the battery. That's cool. Now this is all in Celsius. I'd imagine there is going to be a setting here. Let me just move around here. There it is. So you can turn it into imperial units. Right now it is in metric. I'm going to turn it into imperial since I'm in the US, but at least you guys, you know, over there in Europe or other parts of the world can change that if you want. And basically here's just all the options here. This is the main screen here on the bottom of the settings. Maintenance mode, firmware update. You can check that again from here if you want to. It tells you all of the firmware and everything. That's great. So we'll go back here and we'll just start off with the drone menu here. So clicking on the drone, and that's what we got on the menu, guys. So we can limit the flight speed if you want to change your speed of flight. It's defaulting at 17.9, which is probably the most efficient. But check this out. You can go up to 35.8 or 6.7. Don't really have an on the fly button on this one, but you can change it in there for your speed. Limit flight distance if you want. I can go all the way up to 16,404 or all the way down to 32 feet. Or you can just turn it right off. So I'm going to turn that off. And of course it gives you a warning. So we'll press OK on that. And limit flight height. Right now it's set at 393. Let's see what we can get maximum on this drone if we wanted to. Check out these settings and check out what I just noticed on the top left there. Sensor temperature is too high, so this thing's going to overheat when it's not flying really quick. So you better hurry up here. So you can go, the highest you can go, guys, is 1640.4 feet. And then you can also set it to not go over 98.4 feet at the lowest. So I'm going to keep it right just under 400, 397. You know, to keep it safe there. And RTH height, again, we can adjust that when it's coming back home. Beginner mode, so you can turn that on or off if you want, or it just has a preset, everything. Quick turn that off and on so you don't have to adjust these other settings. It does have a sport mode, so apparently, there we go. So it's going to go to 18 meters per second in sport mode and just fly real quick. So they're just telling you be careful. So there is a little sport mode, but you got to go into the settings. I don't see any button on here anywhere on the controller to get you into sport mode immediately. We can turn precision landing on. So that's kind of cool. I like to turn that on. It was off by default. So we'll check that in the flight test, how precise it is at landing on the launch pad there. Aircraft indicator, not really sure exactly what that means. Amount of magnetic interference. So in the house here, we're in the yellow, so a little bit higher. Compass calibration, always do this like out in the field before you fly, where you're flying, just so you have the best compass ability and not really that much interference. What do you want the failsafe to be? Home point. Great. So you can go into it here. Say you're flying on a boat, you change locations while you're flying. You get back to the location where you're anchored. Go ahead and press the person, the pilot right here, and it will relocate that home point to where you are, and it will fly back there if you press return to home or you lose signal. So make sure you look at that depending on your situation and set that correctly. And there's actually update dynamic home point in Smart Track. So I'm going to turn that on. So that's good to know, because what that is as it's tracking you, it's going to keep updating its own home point. So say you run out of power when you're riding a bike or skateboarding, and you don't want the thing to fly all the way back. Say you went like a half a mile, right? If the thing starts running out of battery, it'll just lift up and go back to where you started. You can have that, but wouldn't you want it to kind of land where you are? If you have like maybe the controller with you, you we wouldn't want it to go back to the original point, right? So I'm going to leave that to update while it's tracking. Enable backward flying. Yes. A caution, because this doesn't have any side, backwards, up or down sensors, or it does have a downward sensor for the ground. So kind of like Mini 1 technology mixed with the Mini 2 technology for supposedly range and its 4K camera. So of course we're going to test that out in the flight test, see how it is. Gain and expo, so you can tune all this stuff, guys, for your control. You know, if you really wanted to tune in your control, how fast it reacts with these sticks, right? So you can adjust all that stuff, and also the sensitivity. See that? So it's all defaulting at 50%. Moving on down, trying to do this as quick as possible to the camera. Quick parameters. You can go into manual. Video quality, normal, medium, and high. Defaulting at medium. Wouldn't you want it to be on high? It's probably going to use more power and more space on your SD card, right? Video size. So it was medium, and it's defaulting to 720. We want to do 4K, man. This is a 4K camera. It only does 4K 30, and then the lowest it can do is 720 at 120 frames per second. So no 4K 60 here on the X8 Mini. We do want to have high, probably adjusting the bit rate so we have a more of a quality picture. I want you to see what the latency is in the camera real fast. So if I'm moving my hand here, that's quite a bit of latency. So that's more latency than what I've seen from DJI. That's about pretty much twice as high. So that's maybe 400 to 500 milliseconds, which is basically just about half a second, or maybe even a little bit more. So you're gonna have more of a lag, it looks like, on this aircraft. The sensor temperature is too high. I'm burning this thing up. So you better hurry the heck up. White balance auto, or you can do incandescent fluorescent, all this other stuff. Color, metering mode, you can change all that. Video encoding, you can change between 264 and 265. You can put grid lines on it. Shows you how much you have in your SD card. I have a 32 gig in here, and you can format it. Okay, moving on down to the controller, you can recalibrate it if your sticks are off. You can't get the thing to fly right. Try a recalibration. Remember, you can pick mode 1, 2, and 3, and that's all I can do there on the controller. Moving on down to gimbal. If your gimbal is kind of out of whack, horizontal, go ahead and calibrate it. I would recommend doing that at home on a level surface before you even go out there. And then you can change your speed. It's at 50, but you know, you can really change this, go all the way down to 1% to 100. And that just depends on how fast the camera is going to move up and down, right? Advanced parameters can cause it to tilt. So what you could do is go in here, and you see how you can really just adjust little by little. If you're having problems with that, I guess you can adjust that. Nothing else you can do there on the gimbal. So we'll go down to battery. We kind of already saw all this stuff. It's still taking the battery temperature at Celsius, so I guess you can't change that to Fahrenheit. I thought you would be changing that to Fahrenheit if you changed your units, but see, it's showing the mile per hour still on the drone, but it's showing Celsius on the battery. So maybe they can work on their app a little bit, you know, as with DJI as well. DJI needs to work on their apps too to get them, you know, kind of all set. You could turn these things off, getting back to the battery. If you wanted to get your drone back and it, you know, if you're doing a range test, I might want to turn these off. Because if you're doing a range test, I'd rather kill that battery than lose the drone, right? It'll just keep flying until it just can't fly anymore. But if it looks like if you have this to land when the battery is only enough to land, it'll force you to land. So maybe we'll be checking that out before I turn it off when we're in the flight test, before we do our range test. Anyway, nothing else I can do on the option screen, so that's great. Now it has 14 satellites. It still cannot take off, apparently, maybe because it's overheating on its sensor in the flight controller. So be really careful with this again, guys. Yeah, it's not even letting me do anything because I think the picture, that since it's overheating, everything is just locking me out of taking pictures. So videos and photographs, we got HDR mode, we got super night. Wow, cool. So we got night vision, we got time lapse, 60-second clips to 1-second clips. We click to video, normal, HDR, and also that's video lapse. The other one was time lapse. So we can do 67 seconds to half a second videos, I guess. One click video, You can't do that without taking off. So in a flight test, we'll be checking out the one-click video. Looks like one quick shots. That's what they're calling quick shots, like on the DJI stuff, minis. They're calling this one-click video. So we'll see how that works in our flight test. And panorama, horizontal, vertical, and wide. So no 360 shots here. And then this one over here, smart features. This is kind of like what the Fimi X8 has. Same kind of tracking. You've got to be up flying the drone to activate most of these. You can see how we have tap to fly waypoints. So we can do waypoints right out of the box on this drone, just like the regular X8 and the X8 2020. Smart track. So that's that infinity tracking, guys. It looks like this one's going to do it. We just got to be launched. Orbit, spiral. Now these are infinity things while it's tracking. This isn't some little quick shot that it just does for one revolution like the Mini does. So this is awesome. Flight mode, cinematic, tripod, course lock, fixed wing, and search and rescue. Awesome. So it's going to show the coordinates up there on your screen if you're doing a search and rescue looking for people. So great options, just like the regular standard X8 has. We're going to be testing all that stuff out. A couple of quick things on the bottom here. It tells you how much you have left on your SD card, what mode you're in. It's 16:9 right now. It's 0 EV, and the angle of the actual camera, which apparently I can't move. It's just locked up. I can't even move my camera up and down with this roller on the left. You see that? I'm turning it and it's just locked there because it's overheating. So again, hurry the heck up and finish this up so we can go fly. Here's our compass over on the bottom. Clicking on it, that'll go into our Google Maps. It'll show just the regular street maps, and then you can click on it for the other stuff like satellite maps. So that's great. And then you can click on the picture again. Let's see if we click on this little guy right here. There's a little thing on the top right corner, and that just brings us back to our compass. On the left here, we have just our takeoff. Of course, I can't do anything right now because it's just overheating like crazy. So don't leave this thing running. I'm going to turn it off right now, but I think that's going to really do it as far as the initial kind of run through on all of the options, how to get this thing set up, how to get it really updated and stuff. Turn this thing off, basically click and hold. Sucker is overheating. Makes some kind of very strange noise. DJI looks a little bit more polished. It is a more an expensive drone, right? And they have been around longer. In my opinion, you're gonna get better quality. It's just a known fact with the DJI stuff. You're gonna get more polished, higher quality, but you're gonna pay for it. You don't wanna pay that extra few $100s. Here you go. Try this. Again, we are going to be testing all this out and flying it. You see how wide the Mini 2 is? It's a little wider. So the X8 Mini on the right is a little thinner side to side, but it's a little bit higher, just a tad bit higher. You can see that side by side, it's a little bit higher. Let me stack them on top of each other, and you can see the difference here. Front to back, just about the same, maybe a little bit longer on the X8 Mini there. The front coming over just a tad, but you know, really the same kind of design, just a little bit higher. Coming from the bottom here, you know, overall same theory. Vents on the bottom and on the back. Overall same theory, just a little bit different. You can really see the height of the Mini is a little bit higher on the back. You see how this is more slimline here, and they just got the feet on the back, but this comes all the way down with the feet coming out there. Now the motors are interesting. If we try to compare to the motors, I noticed something here. The motor on the X8 Mini, it feels like the magnets are gripping stronger. You know, that little like ratcheting feel as you rotate the motor. But with the DJI Mini, it's like a really soft, you know, little ratcheting effect. Maybe a little bit higher on the X8 Mini motor. You see how it's just a tad bit higher. It has like that top little cap on it, but the propellers do go on and off the same way. And I will say, I mean, I'm not measuring these right now, but I will say that the X8 Mini motor on the right looks a little bit smaller than the Mini 2 motor on the left. So this will probably be pushing out more power than this, especially since this is using those lithium ion cells, unless you buy that extra upgraded lithium polymer battery. I don't have one of those, but I'm just going to be testing it in its kind of like default mode with the lithium ion. Coming up, what I am testing, guys, is a pretty cool parachute. Now, this is a parachute from Flyfire. It's called the Manti, and check it out. It's just a Velcro parachute, really light and slimline, that attaches right to pretty much any drone. I think this one's made for the Mavic Air 2 series. It's just basically rounded, so you can fit it on any kind of drone. So I'd imagine it'd probably work even better on these because these are lighter as long as they can lift it. And this doesn't really feel that heavy at all. I'm going to be testing this on one of these drones in the near future. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for the X8 Mini initial unboxing setup. We did updating, all that stuff, just looking at the interface and everything, seeing how it performed. And again, remember, be real careful with this one because of that overheating. So as you can see, if I let it sit there for a few minutes, it was already overheating. It's probably only around 80 degrees out today. It's a nice and cool windy day, so it's not very hot in here. So I wasn't expecting it to have that overheating problem that quick. And when you can see that when it does overheat, it kind of shuts everything off. You can't record video, you can't take off, any of that stuff. So hopefully when we're in the field and we're doing our compass calibration and all that stuff, it's not going to have that problem as well. Anyway, guys, I hope that was really fun and informative for you. Maybe not super fun as flying, but it's really good to know what you're buying and really inspect it, I think, in depth, so you kind of know what you're getting into before you drop the money on buying this. And as usual, if you do like what you see down below in the description, I'll have the links to what I review in my videos and also the gear I use to record my videos and what I use to like fly my drones, like landing mats, backpacks, and all that stuff. I've been doing this for a while, so I try to get the best stuff down there in the links down below in the description, so you guys kind of know what to buy, and that's going to work. Anyway, remember, next video in this series is going to be the flight test for this cool looking X8 Mini, and we're going to put it through all of its paces, so don't miss that video. Subscribe, click that notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Let's go fly this thing. Thanks for watching.